A transcontinental railroad. This was built across the western half of America between 1863 and 1869. This railroad was 1,776 miles long and served for the Atlantic and Pacific coasts of the United States. It allowed people to move west and settle. After the Civil War, they laid many more tracks for people to move. The Montgomery Ward. This was founded by Aaron Montgomery Ward in 1872. This is the beginning of the mail business in Chicago, Illinois. He thought of this idea by hearing many people wanting city goods, but they were not around the city. So they had to ask people that lived in the city when they came around to their town to get city goods. So Aaron Montgomery Ward thought of the mail business. And just after 18 years, it made $1 million. Alexander Graham Bell. He was the inventor of the telephone. He made the very first call on March 10th, 1876 to his assistant, Thomas Watson. He said, "Come here, I want to see you." The telephone worked because of the sound waves that he was creating by his voice that entered the mouthpiece. It created an electric current that carried the sound to the telephone of the other person he was talking to. DC electricity. It was created September 1882 by Thomas Edison. It was put on Pearl Street in Manhattan. This opened companies to use the electricity cheap and save time in projects. Each DC electricity box would go around 1 mile. DC electricity was fired by coal. It began with one direct current, and it could serve about 400 lamps with just one generator, but after 2 years it could serve around 10,000 lamps. In 1903, the airplane was created by Wilbur and Orville Wright. That day, on December 17th, they had several attempts. The highest they got it was 852 feet, which lasted 59 seconds. 8 years later, the Wright brothers received the Clare Trophy. He received this trophy for having the greatest achievement in aeronautics or astronautics. If we didn't have the Wright brothers in that time, we might not have had planes today. On December 1st, 1913, Henry Ford installed the very first moving assembly line for the mass production of an entire automobile. His innovation reduced the time it took to build a car from more than 12 hours to only 2.5 hours. An assembly line is what we still use today. It's in many factories. It's almost on a treadmill. After the factory workers started using the assembly line, they got a $5 raise, which was huge back then.